This is another reading of Lord Mayhare, page 31, 33, chapter 23, Fiery Free Life. Here's a cool picture of Baba that's been digitally sharpened, and he's got a wrapped up foot. So, and it's Kushik Quarters, Ahmednagar, September 1952. So he was, that's from the American accident, I guess. Yeah. Before traveling to America and Europe, Baba had sent Erich and Pendu on a speaking tour of different places in India, such as Andhra Pradesh in the south, Hamirpur in the north, Delhi, Allahabad, Nagpur, and Saurner in the central provinces and elsewhere. They had even carried Baba's message of love to Karachi in Pakistan. The gatherings were not open to the general public, but were meant only for Baba lovers and those genuinely interested in spirituality. Before addressing each meeting, Baba instructed Erich to repeat, "O God, Baba is sending us both," that is Erich and Pendu, "in your name, and Baba and we ask that your will be done in this work." In Andhra, Dr. Dhanapathy Rao had already done some preliminary spade work, and so, as Age noted, after Erich and Pendu's visit, the soil there was particularly fertile and eagerly waiting to receive the Ancient One. Upon Baba's return, Erich and Pendu arrived from Pune, where Pendu had recently been hospitalized with appendicitis. They gave a full account of their travels. Erich showed Baba a list of the places they had visited, those who had accommodated them, and those who had donated money toward their expenses. Baba took great interest in what they said and marked a few places he wished to visit personally. On Monday, 31 August 1952, Baba called the Mandali from Mehrabad and Ahmednagar. He met them seated on the front veranda of the main house. Baba had Adi Sr., Nilu, and Don give an account of their trip to the West. Baba alluded to the critical situation caused by the accident and the ensuing suffering he had to endure. He spoke about the appearance and then fading chances of raising funds for his work. He praised Nilu for his tireless night watch duty and Sarosh and others, and observed, "I found my Mondali at their best." After a pause, he added with a wry smile, "and also at their worst." Erich and Pendu then spoke about their tour of India. Baba Das was called to Merzad on 4 September, and Baba instructed him to begin keeping silence on the 7th, to take only one meal a day, and to refrain from writing. He was to return to Merzad on 1 November. On the afternoon of 10 September, Adi Sr. took Baba to the civil hospital for diathermy, which is heat treatment for his hip. Unfortunately, the equipment was not working properly that day, so Baba had to return to Merzad untreated. On the 13th, Yeshwant Rao of Sakori met Baba at Merzad. Baba informed him of the mass darshan tour and instructed him to join him and the Mandali for 1 month from 5 November. On Monday, 15 September, Baba and the women proceeded to Pune in Nariman's green Oldsmobile. Adi Sr. drove Naja, Gohar, Don, and Krishna in his own car. Baba and the women stayed in a villa on Karva Road called Amar Jyoti, which belonged to a Mr. Patankar. The house had first been spotted by Erich and then arranged by Papa and Merwan Jesawala. Their meals came from Bindra House. Don had arranged for Dr. Kapila at the Pune Military Hospital to give diathermy treatments to Baba, and he took Baba there every day. Baba stayed 2 days, sorry, Baba stayed 2 weeks in Pune for the treatment. A few times in between treatments, he visited Bindra House, where a darshan program was held on Sunday, 21 September. Nearly 500 persons attended. Gadekar gave some introductory remarks. Cool picture of Baba, joking probably. It's at Bindra House, Pune in September 1952. Baba would also discuss with Adi Sr., Erich, and Tendu the list of those to be invited to a special November meeting at Mehrabad. Alaba was called from Bombay and was told to join Baba on the mass darshan tour. Baba also visited with Jalbai and Behram's family at Baba House before returning to Meherzad on 1 October. Adi Sr. had meanwhile sent out circular letters inquiring whether those concerned were ready to participate in complete surrenderance in Baba's fiery free life. The circular read, in the case of God, in the cause of God, and entirely in the interest of spiritual life, Baba desires to know whether it will or will not be possible for you to act upon the items as enumerated in the attached letter form, which you should fill in, sign, and send to Meher Baba, care of Adi K. Irani, Kings Road, Ahmednagar, by October 1, 1952. The attached letter, which they were to fill out and return, was, Dear Baba, as per your letter of 1st September 1952, I agree on my own free will and responsibility to follow you by unquestioningly dedicating to you any one or more or all of the following entirely in the interest of spiritual life. 1. My money, yes or no. My property, yes or no. 3. My service, yes or no. 4. My very life, yes or no. My remarks on the above, if any. Go ahead, Marvin.
Each day, Adi informed Baba about the replies. Most replied affirmatively, though only a few were ready to dedicate their money and property. On Sunday, 5th October 1952, Baba held a meeting at Meherzad with 6 Andhra and 6 Hamapur tour coordinators to discuss giving darshan to the masses. Footnote says, in attendance from Andhra, Dr. Dhanapati Rao, Tali Meli Suri, Kutumba Sastri, C.H. Malik Karjuna Rao, Y. Ranga Rao, K. Subramaniam Sastri, C. Kondala Rao, and from Hamapur, Keshav Nigam, Avani Prasad Nigam, Pukar, Lakshmi Chand Paliwal, Gaya Prasad Kare, and Sripat Sahai. Baba met with them from 8 to 10 a.m. behind the blue bus. Baba went over his plans, after which they left for their respective places. Among the 6 men from Andhra, all were new except for Dr. Dhanapati. They were highly moved by their their first meeting with Baba. Vitumba Sastri, however, could not acknowledge Baba as the avatar, though his heart was impressed with Baba's love. Those from Hamapur were old lovers who were fully dedicated to their master. Their lives were for Baba alone. Thus, as age recorded, after these inflammatory, quote-unquote, discussions, the means to set fire to these two districts in India were now at hand. Baba went to Merazad on 6 October, where he discussed with Pendu and Padre the arrangements being made for the November gathering. Jal Karawala was in Bombay for a heart checkup and had sought Baba's permission to come to Merazad. But Baba ordered him to leave Bombay for Nagpur on Thursday, 2nd October. Due to his medical appointments, which could not be changed, Jal decided to delay and instead left with his sister Khurshid 3 days later. During the train ride, he suffered a heart attack, and on reaching Nagpur, he was rushed to a hospital. He passed away at midnight on the 6th without regaining consciousness. Hearing of his demise, Baba sent this telegram to Meherji the following day. I wanted Jal to leave on Thursday. Had he left on Thursday, he would have survived. But what God decrees must come to pass, and Jal has now come to me eternally. Footnote here, to come to Baba, quote-unquote, meant that Jal Karawala would be born into a Baba family in his next life, because Baba later revealed to Bal Kachuri that Jal had taken birth as his son, Mehernath. Interesting. To Adi Sr. and Erich, Baba remarked that before he left for America, Jal was the first one to whom I revealed my plans to visit Nagpur. Jal should have lived to take part in the Nagpur program. Baba added, Jal was one of my most beloved followers and has come to me to enjoy divine bliss eternally, which is not exactly what we read in the footnote. Papa and Gaimai Jesawala were cabled. Be brave and happy in the knowledge that Jal is more alive than ever before and happy in me. So take it as divine will and do not grieve at all. Deshmukh had come to Merazad, where he was working on compiling Baba's messages for his upcoming tour. On Wednesday, 8 October 1952, as Baba bowed down to 5 poor people, paying them 5 rupees each, Deshmukh, as instructed, would say aloud, "Oh God, I give this poor man 5 rupees in memory of Jal Karawala." Papa Erich and Meherji were sent to Nagpur to see to Jal Karawala's affairs, in case Jal had left anything to Baba. After Jal's demise, the following life circular was issued by Baba on 10 October. Yet another of my most loved disciples has physically passed away. Jal D. Karawala dropped his body at Nagpur on the night of the 6th. His connection with me was and is unique. His love for me was unbounded, his faith in me complete, his obedience to my orders implicit, and his surrender to my will absolute. Jal was going to play an extremely important part in the planning of the fiery free life. Before going to the West, I had asked Jal to be in Mehrabad for 15 days from 1st of November in order to contribute his vital share in the planning. No one except Jal knew about this plan till I returned from the West. I thus wanted him to be with me at the threshold of the fiery free life. However, God has willed that he will not be physically present in the midst of the selected persons invited to Mehrabad for 15 days in November. Through the incident of Jal's death, Maya has delivered a severe blow to my work. But in this very act of my work becoming more difficult, it has become more forceful. I am more determined than ever to plunge into the fiery free life which is calling me. In the fiery free life, I will give mass darshan to people, bow down to the saints, the poor, and the masses, and the result of the fiery free life will make the world understand that Baba and everyone are one with God. My beloved Jal has come to me eternally in peace. On the 17th of October, I will feed the poor at Pimplegown in memory of Jal. End of circular. On Tuesday, 14 October 1952, Don took Baba to Ketkar Hospital for more x-rays. Sarosh drove them there. Baba's body was healing normally, but he still experienced pain in his left leg, ankle joint, and arm. The doctor suggested that Baba practice walking on an even surface and begin regular weight-bearing exercises, which he agreed to do under Don's supervision at Merazad. 2 days later, on the 16th, for the first time since the accident, Baba began walking independently using canes instead of crutches. Footnote. Another x-ray was taken at Ketkar's hospital 10 days later on 24 October, which showed sufficient healing for full weight bearing. Baba then began walking without the use of any support. Baba fasted the entire day of the 16th without even drinking water, and the next day, as he said he would, he fed the poor of Pimplegown in memory of Jal Kerawala. On 19th October, Kaka S.L. Sherlikar, Nanakur, Popali, and Deshmukh, already at Merazad, were called to discuss the Darshan programs in Nagpur and Sayonar. Baba Das, Erich, Pendu, and Adi Sr. attended this meeting. Sherlikar was given overall responsibility for seeing to all arrangements. Gadekar came on the 26th and discussed other programs with Baba. On 30 October, Baba, accompanied by Nilu, paid a visit to Vilu Villa and to Kush Recorders. At Vilu Villa, he promised Vilu to take full responsibility for her and her family's welfare, provided that she surrender everything to him. At Kush Recorders, he spoke with Gulmai and other residents and granted an interview to Alu Kambata, Baya Pandey, and Alu Kambata. Baya Pandey took 2 photographs of Baba, and then Adi Sr. drove Baba back to Merazad. Naraman, Meherji, and Minu Karas arrived at Merazad on the 31st and spent the night there. The momentum of Meher Baba's work began gathering force, age observed. Although Baba had only recently begun to walk, slowly, one step at a time, free from all external supports, yet he was making all necessary preparations with lightning speed to merge the world into his ocean of fire. For 3 days, from 7 to 9 October 52, more than 300 men from all over India had been invited to Mehrabad to plan the mass darshans at their respective places. And from the 1st of November, about 50 close ones were called for 15 days for the same purpose. Another footnote says, this group included, you know what, it's so many names, we're going to get lost trying to remember half of them. So let's skip this long list of people's names.
Agreed.
Baba's explosive plans had their counterparts in the gross world. At the beginning of October, Britain exploded its first atomic bomb. And on 1 November, America exploded a hydrogen bomb in the Pacific. The tremendous blast was said to be brighter than 10 suns. From Saturday, 1 November, Baba began visiting Mehrabad daily in the morning, returning to Merazad at 6 in the evening. He arrived in Naraman's car on the 1st at 7:30 a.m. with Naraman, Meherji, Minu, and Gustaji. When all had gathered in the hall, he stated, "I am very pleased to see you all. This is a very important period. Now that you have come, drive away all thoughts about your family, money, and other responsibilities." Sidhu, on a sign from Baba, got up to bring in the Must Ali Shah. Baba stated, "I forgot about what I had decided early this morning, that I would begin the day by bowing down at the feet of a must. There are two here, Mohammed and Ali Shah. The first is out of the question. He would not leave me alone for long once I saw him. He is the Mabali, mischievous or cunning type. So it is better to get the Jamali, the gentle type." Sidhu brought Bapchi, as Ali Shah was affectionately called, into the hall. As Baba had just begun to walk without crutches, Neela was concerned about his decision to bow down to the must. He held Baba anxiously until Baba touched Bapchi's feet with his forehead and then sat up. As the must was led from the room, Baba observed, "I receive letters from many different parts of the country, as well as from the West, of people having experiences of me, like seeing me face to face, receiving guidance and help from me, and so on. Honestly, I tell you, I do not know anything of this. Either God did this for them, or it is the faith and devotion of the individuals concerned that have brought it about. But from November 15 onwards, God will make me do such things directly, as and when necessary. That is why I will be allowing the masters to contact me, and will let those who so desire perform my arti." About the upcoming fiery free life, Baba explained, "These 2 weeks are my final working, and after that will commence the fiery life. This period is so important that I had to invite the selected few to be with me in order to participate in my preparations for the fiery life. Pleader had not seen me for about 12 years, but because of his old connection with me, I have brought him here by force of internal compulsion, so that he may not miss this great chance. Manek Mehta will also prove to be lucky if he turns up. He had left, quote unquote, Baba and stayed in Bombay. It would have been better if Jal Karawala had passed away after this fiery life, as I expected great work from him." Baba continued, "I will do what I have to do myself internally, but I also have to see to the external aspects of the fiery life. All that work put together is the rhythm for the fiery life, commencing on November 15th. Whether I give you work or no work, leave you alone or keep you engaged, I want all of you to stop all other thoughts over your personal affairs and to think of me most of the time. That would be the best way for you to remain ready to do as and when I find it necessary for you to do anything. Only do as I say and remain free from your worries and your own plans. I have to do many, many things. Many among you can do a few things for me and on my behalf by carrying out the duties with utmost sincerity from the bottom of your hearts." As decided by Baba, 11 men from the group were to repeat God's name on Baba's behalf continuously from the 2nd of November to the morning of the 14th in his Chopti. The repetition was to be non-stop the full 24 hours throughout the next 12 days. The following schedule was set, with Abdullah Jafar being the only man chosen twice. And here we have a list of who's doing it every hour. Without reading the hour every time, sometimes it's 2 hours. Yeah, it's 2 hours. Papa Jesawala as a Zoroastrian to repeat Ya Yezden, Aloba as a Muslim to repeat Allahu, Murli as a Christian to repeat God Almighty, Sule as a Hindu to repeat Parabrahma Paramatma, Minukaras Ya Yazdan, Abdullah Jafar, Allahu, Sidhu, God Almighty, Pandoba, Parabrahma, Paramatma, Savak Kotwal, Yah Yezdan, Abdullah Jafar, Allahu, Gadakar, God Almighty, and Madhab, Reo Misal of Amanagar, Parabrahma, Paramatma. Baba also directed 4 men to read sacred writings out loud alone in the hall for 4 days from 1 to 4 November at 4 fixed times, 7 to 7:30, Kaikobad from the Avesta, 7:30 to 8, Murli from the Bible, 8 to 8:30, Kalamama from the Dinaneshwari, and let me just read the last one, and Ramju from the Quran. The footnote says the Dinaneshwari is considered the greatest interpretation and translation of the Bhagavad Gita by the Sadguru Dinaneshwar of Alandi. Nanakura was to substitute for anyone who became ill. After these arrangements were made, Baba dictated the following discourse on knowledge. The Nayan. Knowledge is a thing that even after endless evolutionary forms, it is very difficult to attain, but it could even be grasped in a fraction of a second, such as knowledge. Imagination is so strong and its scope so infinite that you can imagine anything. You can imagine a rat with 1,000,000 heads. One can imagine oneself to be a king. The universe is the outcome of imagination. But in the end, there is a check. Imagination cannot reach eternity. There is no question of time in eternity. That thing which has no beginning and no end, how can it be limited by time? What was in the beginning? But when there is no beginning, how can there be a beginning at all? Any amount of imagination cannot think about infinity. This knowledge comes within a second, though even after an infinite number of forms, it cannot be grasped. When it comes in a second. What is knowledge? Vedanta, which cannot reach it, explains it. We can compare God to a boundless, shoreless ocean. We are all drops in the ocean. We can imagine drops in ocean, but we can't imagine the Nayan. What is it that we cannot imagine? It is a thing where there is no beginning and no end. This is the Nayan. The only thing that we cannot imagine is what is beyond beginning and what is beyond end. No one is able to grasp this. Even the rishis and munis are baffled. Hafez says, the falcon of knowledge can never be caught in the net of imagination. So fold this net, for therein you catch nothing but emptiness. Only Sadgurus can give this knowledge in a split second. Taking into consideration what Hafez has said, we come to the conclusion that, however deeply we may think about what is beginningless beginning, we are unable to grasp it or explain it. In the beginning there was God, and before God there was God, and before God there was God. What is in the end? God. And after that, God. Through the medium of intellect, this cannot be explained because the imagination is baffled, because there the imagination is baffled, and mind and intellect cannot do anything. Mind is strong in imagination, and through the imagination of the mind, the whole world is created and conducted. But where the imagination of the mind gets obstructed, there is the Nayan. And for imagination to go, mind must go, but consciousness must be retained. So where is the Nayan? Where the power of imagination ends, there is the Nayan. It can be called Swayambhu, automatic. It comes from God of its own accord. The knowledge of God means infinite power, bliss, beauty, and everything. Then instantaneously, everything is absolutely clear in the twinkling of an eye. What is your own Swayambhu Dhanayan automatic knowledge? It is that you know that you are a human being. This knowledge is not intellectual. You know you are a man, yet you do not think about this. You do not doubt this. A woman knows that she is a woman. It is self-knowledge of womanhood. Such knowledge can be termed as Swayambhu. In the same way, there is divine Swayambhu. This knowledge is real knowledge. He who has this knowledge not only sees himself in everything and everywhere, but lives the very life of God. This knowledge cannot be gained, even after practicing sadhana for millions of years and lives, without the help of a Sadguru. Without contact with a Sadguru, union is not possible. But that too is possible in very rare cases. But again, this is union and not Dhanayan. Of course, only God alone is real. Everything else is in God. We are one with Him, but due to ignorance, we experience separation. But this separation, in turn, necessary is necessary to realize our oneness with Him. Now, because we are already one with the Swayambhu knowledge, it cannot be given by God. Once this knowledge of God, which is Swayambhu, individualized, is gained, one can impart that knowledge to anyone. Nayan is already there in everyone, but who is to give it? For that reason, a Sadguru is necessary. But a Sadguru will not give it to just anyone. He cannot give it to one who has not annihilated himself completely. He gives it to one who has surrendered himself 100%, or to one who has a very, very close or deep connection with him. Sadgurus can give this knowledge in a second, but one who wants this knowledge must have the necessary preparedness. Only then the Sadguru gives help. He does not give this knowledge to those who are unprepared, for in their case it would be like throwing pearls before swine. That has been the law. Okay, Gene, I think I
Okay,
will.
thanks, Marvin. In
Yes.
short, that which you cannot imagine is Dhanayan, which even the rishis and munis cannot imagine. When one fails to grasp the divine Swayambhu knowledge, how can one grasp the one who has that knowledge? But when you come in contact with the Dhanayani, that is a possessor of the knowledge, who starts explaining it, it means that you are on the way towards Dhanayan. Knowledge cannot be imagined. Then what of the Dhanayani? When Vijnanavestha, that is divine knowledge, cannot be imagined by the rishis, then what can they imagine about the state of a Dhanayani? Walis, which are saints, can give the shadow of that knowledge, either by touch, gaze, or by placing their hand on the head of anyone they like. Why do they place their hand on the head? Because it is the seat of knowledge. So if Walis, through their tawaju, meaning spiritual power or force, place their hands on the heads of any persons, they receive the shadow of the knowledge. Even in that case, bodily consciousness is lost. But this is not Dhanayan. In the Dhanayaneshwari, it is written that this Dhanayan cannot be gotten except through the intervention of a Sadguru. then this is all about denying. As for myself, I think love for God is the best avenue to real knowledge, for God alone is worth loving. After completing the discourse in the morning, Baba concluded with the following remarks. Denying always comes unawares. God is so kind that it is impossible to imagine his unbounded kindness. Some think they have suffered a lot, and still God is not showering his grace on them. But the fact is that the necessary preparedness is lacking. Hafiz said, one tip of a strand of hair is in my hand, the other in the hand of the friend. Our tug of war has been going on for years. But when the appointed time comes and the necessary preparedness is there, then denying comes, irrespective of what the individual is doing at that moment. Before leaving for lunch, Baba mentioned that he would grant individual interviews to each man the next day and added, I will do this for my own work and not for giving a hearing to individuals, quote, crying and weeping, end quote, over personal difficulties. They are there, no doubt, but it is equally true that they have been there more or less all the time. The fact is that when one dies, one has to leave everything there and then, done or undone, important or unimportant. What a joke. Before ending, Baba also mentioned his silence. Do you know how fed up I am with this silence? I long for the moment when I can break it and speak what I have in my mind to you all. You all put your grievances and complaints before me, but who will hear mine? You say, Baba, you have Anubhav. That's the experience of the infinite nature of God. But then my grievances and complaints are also infinite. God is the only reality, and all the rest is illusion. God is one. We are in him and one with him. And we have to experience this. That is the first purpose of creation. This jagada, meaning struggle or fight, is to get this experience. God men help to achieve this goal. When man becomes God, a lineage is there. But when God becomes man, there is no lineage. As for me, I have to come back again and again and experience infinite bliss and suffering simultaneously. There is pleasure in it and a kind of imprisonment too. Baba then left the hall for his meal. He returned at about 3 that afternoon and stated, from the 14th of November, 25 persons are to go with me for a 2-month tour. I want men who are really prepared to do what I say, at least up to the end of April, even at the cost of their lives. Fiery life is different from new life. Implicit obedience is what I expect and want. He then stated, now I am going to assign duties for the period of 2 months. That is, until the end of January. After that, I myself will do the work of all 25 persons. Erich was to be Baba's personal attendant, and Chuggin was to help him. Vishnu was to handle the money, keep accounts, and attend to correspondence. Pendu, assisted by Alaba, was to make the necessary travel arrangements by road and rail. Sadashiv was to arrange their food and shelter, and Savak Kotwal was to help him. Baidul was to hunt for musts. Gadakar was to handle the medical needs. Erich and Jalbai were to read Baba's alphabet board. Anna 104 was to do night watch. When someone asked what was to be done about presents that might be offered to Baba in cash or kind during the tour, Baba replied, "The whole collection, if any, will be placed at the disposal of the local committee for the people at large." He explained, "I have to set myself afire, and since I am everywhere, all will be in that fire of mine. There is no doubt about it now. The whole world will have to burn with me. I am not taking you all with me to attend to programs, to be by my side in this most critical period of my spiritual life. It goes without saying that all who go with me should now only think about me and the duties entrusted to them." Baba then discussed the itinerary for the upcoming tour. Sidhu sang a few songs. Afterwards, with a serious expression on his face, Baba listened to a few ghazal records. At the conclusion of the music, he gave this discourse on realization. Realization is beyond the reach of anyone. It is possible to attain only if we happen to meet a perfect master. Realization is difficult because here we have to be not what is within or without, but what we ourselves are. You will come to know how difficult it is to be what we are, because every one of us is in a way a hypocrite. We justify ourselves in every way, whether right or wrong. Now let us see how difficult it is for those who follow different marga, which are paths. Denian marg, the path of knowledge, Vedantists say it is God who is doing all this, whether good or bad. We, in fact, do nothing. Either God does it, or it may be the result of the law of karma. Hence, Vedantists are short of one thing. They assert their unity with God without experience. It is right to say that whatever good or bad is done by God, but this lack of experience, that is, unity with God, leads them astray. The bhakta, meaning devotee, says, right is right and wrong is wrong. But they get stuck in this habit, dry as dust. So they get embedded in the duality of right and wrong. Yoga Marg, when yogis taste a certain kind of bliss in samadhi, or samadhi, They are overpowered by it and become slaves of it. They forget the real goal, realization. Again, yogis get certain powers which are very deceptive. Even those who do japa, meaning silent repetition of God's name, derive certain powers. It is very difficult to resist them and much more difficult to use them properly. Realization is very difficult because we have to see ourselves by being ourselves. And so, for this, there is only one remedy, and that is contact with a Sadguru. Even then, you must annihilate yourself. In short, you must lose yourself to find yourself. Until then, you cannot realize. So perform karma, meaning actions, not for you, but for others. Try to forget yourself. Follow this to such an extent that you would have the state of absolute nakedness. Paradoxical as it may seem, form karma, not to lose God, but to lose in God. In the highest type of fauna, the state of annihilation, there is divine vacuum. Here, fauna means complete losing of God, complete vacuum. In this state, you are not there. God is not there. Nothing is there. But as soon as there is no God, no individual, God comes back with all glory and you become realized. If, with Herculean efforts, a man loses himself 100%, he becomes a majzub. In this case, God is lost and found, but the life of God is not lived. If he regains consciousness of the world, he lives the life of God. Even while experiencing the lower faunas, you get bewildered, but instantaneously the vacuum is filled up. For the final fauna, you have to make Herculean efforts for lives and lives. But once the final and mature moment arrives, the individual experiences divine vacuum. Divine vacuum. This vacuum is simultaneously filled up, but in certain cases, it so happens that before it is filled up, the link with the body is cut off. In certain cases, the experience of divine vacuum and divine filling up is simultaneous, but it so happens that the link with the world becomes loose, or there is a shattering. There is the shattering of this link. Now they are not conscious of this world. They honestly do not know what they eat or drink. And after some days, they drop their bodies. In very few cases, this link with the world is firmly retained. That is, it remains paki, meaning fixed or unaffected. And these are the Sadgurus. Baba then left for Merzad at about 6:30 p.m. On Sunday morning, 2 November 1952, Baba arrived at 8 a.m. in Adi's car. He came into the hall where all were assembled. Baba had instructed Pleader to repeat God's name in his room for 3 consecutive days. on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th from 9 to 11 a.m. and from 3 to 5 p.m. Baba stated in the morning he would bow down to those 12 men called the Japwalas, who were asked to repeat God's names, and also the 4 quote unquote priests who were to read from the sacred writings or scriptures. Baba explained, from today until the 15th, I will be a devotee. At 8 o'clock, Dr. Dowlat Singh arrived. Baba told him, "You have come in time. You wrote that you could not come. How did you manage it?" "I brought you here, for you had accompanied me in my new life and in my Mananash period." Baba asked him to stay with him until the 28th and ordered him to read from the Guru Granth Sahib. Those are the sacred writings of Sikhs, from 1 to 2 p.m. for 3 consecutive days. Indeed, God's work is unfathomable, Baba observed. He has brought all with whom I had connection. Leader and Vibhuti have come after so many years, and those who have come here are most fortunate. Addressing the Japwalas, Baba stated, "Now I will bow down to you. From today until 14 November, I will be repeating God's name through you. As I place my forehead on your feet, think of God, who is the only reality and who is present within us all. Also, pray to him to shower his grace on us all. Remember the name you have been asked to repeat." Baba knelt down on the carpet, ready to bow down, his palms on both sides, touching the floor. By 8:50 a.m., he had finished placing his head on the feet of 17 men. As Baba bowed his head at their feet, they uttered aloud the name of God, which they had been asked to repeat. 5 priests read to God on Baba's behalf. When this was over, Baba remarked, "Repeat the name as if your very life depends on it. Keep continuity. Adjust among yourselves. Maya necessarily creates obstacles in God's work, so be careful." By 11 o'clock, Baba left the hall for his lunch. At noon, he called Vibhuti to his room and asked him to repeat Om Parabrahma Paramatma 5,000 times a day from the 3rd to the 12th of November, sitting before the Guni. Baba also called Bal Natu and ordered him to repeat 1,400 times every 24 hours from 3 to 12 November. Quote, "O God, Baba asks you to give him strength in his fiery life," end quote. Thereafter, all the men were called into the room. Baba stated, "I am destined to take this gross body again and again, and so I have to come into this world. But I think at least you should be free from this unbroken chain of being born again and again, growing, maturing, marrying, enjoying, procreating, decaying, and dying." Marvin, could you unmute and read for a few more minutes?
Baba added, God is just as soft as he is hard. and as compassionate as he is harsh. But just remember that when you call him or invoke him, if he is touched even once, the work is done. The impossible becomes possible. But again, this is not an easy thing, but very difficult. So repeat God's names wholeheartedly. I know you will all do it, and I and God will see about it. Baba further said, about his excitable nature. These days I try not to get angry or excited. Whenever I am about to do so, I remember the words of Christ and say, "Get thee behind me, Satan." So whenever any thought of lust, greed, anger, jealousy, money matters, or family affairs tries to possess your heart, say with me, "Get thee behind me, Satan," and be at peace. Now, I am 100% happy and 100% sure that I will either end this universal mess or end this body. And if this body does not end, then there will be a real end, which implies real living. Baba had read out to him the list of persons who were to accompany him for different periods until the end of April 1953. 8 men were to remain with him continuously until the end of April. Alaba, Baidul, Erich, Gustaji, Kaikobad, Pendu, Vishnu, and Savak Katwal. We do have a footnote there. Alaba had elected to remain in Bombay since the last stages of the new life, but during this period in 1952, he returned to Mehrabad to stay permanently with Baba. He discussed each and everyone's case and stated, "I must take Yeshwant Raya with me for some time to come. Maharaj has deputed him to serve me with pan day and night, deputed him to serve me day and night with pan when I was in a very different but unique state in Sakori in 1921-22. Yeshwant Raya did this work wholeheartedly, which is another reason why Maharaj has devolved the responsibility of Yeshwant Raya and Gustaji upon me." Baba asked Gustaji to tell in signs all that Upasni Maharaj had told him in Modi language, a dialect of Marathi. Maharaj had said to Gustaji, "I have made Merwan perfect like me. I have given my charge and have handed over my key to him. Now, follow Merwan's orders faithfully and sincerely." End quote. After such talk and reminiscences, Baba said, "At present, I am bent upon doing or dying. As for me, it does not matter whether this or that. If my body lasts until the end of April, it is well and good. 99% I feel that my body will not fail, and in that case, I will surely think of Gustaji. Indeed, his longing, love, and patience stand beyond measure." Baba related some of the hardships Gustaji had borne. Once he lived only on water for 6 months. When working in the Kasba Peth toddy shop in Pune during 1919, he had no sleep for 3 years. Baba had assigned him to sit beside Babajan the whole night. While returning in the morning, he would purchase vegetables worth 1 paisa. These he would simply boil without adding even salt. Such was Gustaji's austere diet. Then in the morning he would resume work in the toddy shop. Baba then asked Nanak Kar of Nagpur about several of his monetary matters and told him to make up his mind so firmly that nothing would upset him. But again, that is impossible, Baba remarked. In case you have a zalak, a glimpse of God, only then is it possible. But it is better that one should not worry, for all is zero. Baba also appreciated the faith and love of Kaikobad and remarked that Kaikobad had told him that he had that zalak. So when Kaikobad gives anything to Baba, he thinks that he has given it to God. Baba explained that in most cases, such zalak is enough to make one unaware of bodily consciousness for years. To illustrate, Baba asked Minu Karas to tell the story of Bayazid and the ants, which he did. Footnote: Bayazid was a renowned 9th century perfect master who lived in Bastam, now Persia, then Persia, now Turkey, from 804 to 875 AD. When Bayazid had a great experience of God, he entered a state of enchantment whereby he was so unconscious of his body that ants covered his entire body and he did not mind them. Those who were accompanying Baba on his trip to Hamirpur and Delhi were told to take sufficient warm clothing with them. Baba instructed Pleader, Minu, and Daulat Singh to be with him for the last 15 days of April. Everyone then dispersed. In the afternoon, Baba came to the hall. He stated, "From the 6th to the 9th of November, as soon as you finish your duties, try to be in this hall so that I may call you whenever I need you." Baba was in a cheerful mood. He recalled a story about the late Dr. Ghani, how especially troubled he was when he accompanied Baba on one of his must tours. In the end, Baba stated, "Ghani and Jal Garawala have won. This is what I feel." The last word which Jal uttered as he breathed his last was Baba. Indeed, such cases are rare. Baba complimented Babadas for the work he had done for him and advised him not to be nervous if some people talked against him or complained about him. Baba explained to him, "My work is strengthened through opposition and even grows larger as people oppose those who do it for me. The balance of your mind should be like a rock that remains unmoved amidst great storms and high tides. Remember this well and be quiet. Let others say whatever they like of me and my work. Worry not, fear not." After this, Baba wished to listen to some ghazals on phonograph records. As the day before, his expression was mostly serious during this time. The selections he liked most were, "O holder of the secret, see that the secret is not divulged," and "O bud, open in the garden." The songs reminded Baba of different perfect ones of the past. Abdul Rahman of Bombay and Maulana Saheb of Bandra were realized souls, both perfect, but the former was a majzub, while the latter was fully normal conscious, salik. So naturally, there was a great difference in their ways of feeding themselves. Abdul Rahman would simply dip his fingers in the various dishes put before him and would lick them. Maulana Saheb preferred a good diet. Also, he used to read the Quran all the time. He was so gross conscious that he read the Quran just like an ordinary man. Now, about majzubs. It is said that they eat and drink like ordinary persons, but they are not consciously conscious about this. But in Abdul Rahman, a rarity was noticed. Though he did not speak like ordinary persons, yet in response to what others said, he used to utter the word Allah. God knows how his link with the gross world was maintained. The rarities and details on this path are so great and so subtle that they are enough to make one mad if one only tries to grasp them intellectually. Akalkat Swami was a perfection personified. Footnote: the Swami of Akalkat was one of the masters of Sai Baba of Shirdi, and he was also connected with Narayan Maharaj. Sai Baba, my grandfather, had a unique technique. Babajan was, after all, Shahenshah, an emperor, king of kings. All were perfect, but whatever I say today is only what I guess, for from today until the 15th, I am in the state of a devotee. Different masters adopt different methods. It is all about speculation. Only a kutub can tell who is an advanced soul, a must, a wali, a majzub, or a sadguru. As for a kutub, an ordinary man thinks him to be just like himself. Plain wallahs, advanced souls on the plains, regard him as a man of the plains, but the kutub is the center of the universe.
Oh, perfect place to stop. Page 3150.
Okay.